Hi, and welcome to the Environment TV Report. I'm Charlie Olson, your host and producer for this episode. I'd like to thank all the people who have sent in short videos and photos for our Fun with Nature opening section, which we'll go to right now. Our first photo is from Jack Bolenbach, which he took in the woods behind Michael J. Petriti's school by Toad Hill. Jack is asking around for anyone to identify this plant. Plant? Is it a flower? A fungus? A mold? Anyone with some idea, please let us know. Next, we have Gabriella Velardi-Ward and her cat's desperate search for her buddy, Charlie, no relation to me.
I don't know either. You don't know?
Who appears to be late for some important date. Probably didn't want to clean out the litter box, as usual.
Call him.
Good luck with that, Blackie.
Charlie. Charlie.
Then we have Lenny Labrizzi with his friend Duncan. I just don't know what gets into some people's minds these days.
Meet my friend Duncan. 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 Duncan.
Lenny did some nice videos and photos for the end of the seal season at Mount Loretto's unique beach area. They are a pleasure to find. I've been trying to get out there for weeks and so glad that Lenny managed to get some footage for us to view. Now this is unbelievable. Jack Bolenbach again met this photographer who captured this osprey with its catch at Mount Loretto's lake and allowed Jack to share it with us. This is absolutely beautiful. It's beautiful and it's scary. I wouldn't want to get in the way of this beauty. For today's episode, we have Kayak Staten Island, letting you know about their group. Our spotlight photographer of the month, Ken Filmer. Then Jim Scarcella of the Natural Resources Protective Association is inviting you to their events all the way up through May of this year. That's followed by a special spotlight with photographer Imagist Stevie Soloway at his exhibit piece being shown at Staten Island Museum's survey exhibition called Yes and, which is the showing of the art and artists connected with Staten Island. We then have a roundup of environmental issues. And now for our question of this episode. What temperature is required to make cement, the indispensable component of concrete? This is important to environmentalists because of the enormous amount the world uses and which requires that heat generated from the likes of coal, gas, oil, etc., with the end result, high amounts of greenhouse gases. So what is the temperature required to make cement? As usual, we'll give you the answer at the end of this broadcast.
All right, hi, I'm TJ.
Hi, I'm Annette.
We're from Kayak Staten Island. We offer free and low-cost kayaking to any member of the public that wants to do it. We have two locations. We have one on the North Shore here at Front Street, 777 Front Street, and we also have a boathouse, 850 Page Avenue on the South Shore. And you can find us at Kayak Staten Island to get in touch with us to see our schedule for free public programming and our guided tours of the North Shore Front Street. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Charlie Olson with the Environment TV, and today I'm here with Ken Filmer. Ken has is part of the calendar that the Protectors of Pine Oak Woods put together for the year, excuse me, 2023. So protectors from the Pine Oak Woods have put this calendar together each year, and this was for 2023. And Ken has two photographs in here at this time. That's March, and we're going to talk about March at this point and find out from him how he got this picture, which we'll show you right away. That's an incredible picture. How did these people actually get the patience and the time to capture these birds? Do they talk to them first, and do they work out a system with them, or are they paying them or feeding them? All right, Ken, enough of me.
Okay, my name is Ken Filmer. I'm a native Staten Islander, and I was a Boy Scout back in the day, so I got to know the woods on Staten Island, and I love the woods, I love the wildlife, and photography is a more recent thing, but my wife and I would love to go out walking in the woods, on the beaches. There's so many nice natural areas on Staten Island that we like to go out, and I originally just went out walking with the dog, and then I started seeing things saying, gee, I wish I had a camera with me. So I got a camera and started taking pictures, and naturally you want a bit better camera every time, but I have what I can afford. This particular picture, we went to Blue Heron Park, which is a really lovely park. It's got a lot of woodlands, there's ponds, and right behind the nature center they have bird feeders where the easy way to get pictures of birds is go stand around by the bird feeders and take pictures when they come. And we were back in that area when we heard this noise and something fluttering around in the tree.
Did it sound like a woodpecker? That rat-tat-tat-tat-tat?
No, not at that point. It was just a fluttering of feathers, and apparently the pileated woodpecker is not the quietest bird. They're not. They make quite a racket when they just fly around, and I saw it all of a sudden sitting on the side of a tree, and I said, oh, I've never seen one of these before. But as soon as I saw it, I went to pick my camera up. It went around to the back of the tree out of sight. So I said, oh, man. But then it flew down from the tree and landed on a log about 12 feet in front of us, a rotting log, and it started pecking at the log
Yes, I see.
to
that
get a meal.
picture, yes.
And it was very fortunate that it was a nice sunny day, and the woodpecker stayed there for 10 or 15 minutes, which is totally unheard of. It's usually you have to be really quick and get a good shot, but this was a very cooperative woodpecker, so I managed to get a couple of good shots.
And it's got some beautiful coloring on its head.
Yes.
Now, is that a male or a female?
That is a male because of that little streak of red down the side of its beak.
Ah, okay.
That is black on a female, so
Ah.
that's a male.
And the female also has red on the top, too?
Yes. Otherwise, they look the same.
Yes. Usually, from what I've heard from bird watchers and photographers who do this, is that the males in the animal world are the ones with the coloration. And
The male
females
is
are
generally
much-
more, they're generally more brightly colored, and to attract the females. There's not always. I know with the kingfishers.
Kingfisher, yes.
The belted kingfisher, the female has a red band on her chest that the male does not have. But the pileated woodpecker is actually one of the largest woodpeckers. They're pretty good size. You know.
Well, here it doesn't show scale. So with this, any idea, is it from beak to end of tail, 6 inches, 8 inches?
Let's say
sparrow?
it's a little bit bigger than a robin, where a lot of
Okay,
woodpeckers
yeah,
are
yeah,
quite
yeah.
small. This one's bigger than a robin, so it's a pretty
That would
good
be
size
bigger
bird.
than a cardinal and bigger than a
Yes.
blue jay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. And those are beautiful. The cardinals all
Oh, yeah,
red,
yeah,
generally.
yeah, yeah.
The males anyhow, and the blue jays, a lot of blue in there. Wow,
Right.
this is really beautiful.
And I still have not seen another one. This is the only one I've ever seen.
Right. One of the people who was announcing the calendar launch back in December of last year was saying that she was so proud that they captured the pileated woodpecker here at Blue Heron, because she's
Yeah,
president
yeah.
of, or was the
Uh-huh.
president of Friends of Blue Heron, and she said it's so rare to catch them
Yeah.
on Staten Island.
Yeah.
Yes. Any particular reason? Was this guy visiting friends or?
They're not as common as a lot of the other woodpeckers. You know, there's some very common woodpeckers around, but the other one that's uncommon is also the yellow-bellied sapsucker.
What a name!
Yeah, and people who used to watch The Honeymooners will recognize that because Norton got involved once with that, a bird watching group. But I've seen those twice, once in Bayonne and once right in my backyard. So, you know, because we do have a little bird feeder and bird bath, but
Oh, wow.
we get the common birds back there. But
Can we
there's
get a
still-
shot of that later, maybe?
Yeah, it's not in very good shape right now
Oh,
with all
okay,
the
all right.
recent bad weather.
Understood. It's the winter time, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So, and what time of the year did you actually capture this, you said? Springtime?
Yeah, I think it was around March. Like I said, it was very, very lucky because that's part of taking pictures of wildlife. Luck comes into it. You got to go out there. You got to go out where they're going to be, but you're not always going to see them.
They don't sell tickets.
No, they don't sell tickets.
No
It's
tickets.
like getting pictures of our local bald eagle couple. You never know if they're going to be around. Sometimes they are.
And
Sometimes they're there and it's a rainy day. Sometimes on a beautiful day they're not there.
All right, so what else would you be looking for at this time of the year? We're going into March now.
Going into
We are in
March.
March now.
Well, the seals are around for a little while more. As long as the cold weather's around and the sun is out, you'll see the seals at low tide out of Mount Loretto. Very soon, I expect within the next couple of weeks, the ospreys will be coming back.
Wow.
And the ospreys will be here all summer.
And where will we see them on Staten Island mostly?
Pretty much anywhere there's a body of water, a large body of water, especially close to the ocean or to a saltwater, because they love to fish in the saltwater. Wolf's Pond Park, Mount Loretto. We see a lot of them at Wolf's Pond, and they'll go out into the ocean, catch a fish, sometimes a huge fish, and they'll come back and sit, up on a tree, and start eating away at the fish. And but they sit nice and still. They very easily get shots of. They're usually far away, but they sit still, and
Are there any particular trees that they like mostly?
Yeah, you see, there's some. When you start getting used to going out, especially we go out to Wolf's Pond a lot, and there's certain trees that they seem to favor for some reason.
Or are they the regular?
No, there's a
deciduous
variety of
or-
trees, but there's certain trees that they like, and to watch them fish is amazing because they hover a little bit way up high, and then they come scooting down, like feet first, grab the fish, and just take off with it.
Wow,
Really,
wow.
they don't
So
miss
that
that
could be
often.
anywhere near the water, from
Yes.
Fort Wadsworth, the ferry actually. I don't know if they'll go there, but
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, I've seen them at Fort Wadsworth, and all the way out to Tottenville, absolutely.
and since Staten Island is an island and 16 to 18 miles wide,
Yeah.
they could be anywhere.
It could be
whether it's
even
Arthur Kill
close
or,
to here on the North Shore at Arthur Kill. I've seen them. There's a small park, and there's pilings out, and they'll build a nest on top of the pilings.
is that at Mariners you're thinking of, or?
It's Heritage Park. It's off Richmond Terrace, between Clove Road and Broadway. It's a
I don't
very
know.
small park, but it's right near the Bayonne Bridge. And if you look towards the Bayonne Bridge, you'll see pilings, and there'll be nests of osprey, and there'll be nests of cormorants. And they raise their young right there.
Well, I hope I can join you in some of these forays.
Sure.
And is there anything else you'd like to say to our viewers?
No, just go out there, enjoy nature, and let's protect it.
Well, I thank you so much.
Oh, it's a
Let me
pleasure
shake
talking
your
to you,
hand. It's a
Charles.
pleasure having you here. Thank you. And I look forward to our next interview.
Okay,
All
me
right.
too.
Take care.
Hi, everybody. It's Jim Scarcella with the Natural Resources Protective Association, abbreviated NRPA. I'm back here in beautiful Von Briesen Park, and this is part of our work, is to protect the parks and beaches. And we have cleanups coming up. We protect the marine environment with the youngsters, and we get people of all ages, and we have a few events coming up I'd like to tell you about. So first of all, on April 8th is a cleanup at Lemon Creek Park at Seguin Avenue on the Seguin Peninsula in Princess Bay. We have community service hours available for that too, and it's just a beautiful way to discover what we have there at our shorelines. And then also for April 22nd, that's Earth Day with the National Park Service over here in Fort Wadsworth at the Fort Wadsworth Park right here. It's a beautiful place and we're going to do a cleanup with the National Park Service Rangers and clean up and have volunteer with them on April 22nd, and that's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then also we have the Student Summit at Great Kills Park on Thursday, April 27th, and we're going to have a lot of the middle school students there with us and educators, and we're going to have a lot of people like New York City H2O, Baykeeper, and a few others. So everyone's going to be doing oystering and discoveries and all kinds of field ecology. And then also, I just want to also tell you that we have there's an event sponsored by the borough president on Saturday, April 29th, and that's St. George. It's a big cleanup down in St. George, so we're going to work with the borough president and his team and the St. George Civic and get St. George and Borough Hall cleaned up and plant trees and do lots. It's more like an ecology day on Saturday, April 29th. In addition to that, I have one more, and that's Saturday, May 6th. We're going to be volunteering at Alice Austin Park as part of Riverkeeper River Sweeps, and we're going to be cleaning up the Hudson River waterfront at Lower New York Bay over there. So come on down and join us. All of our cleanups are volunteer events. We provide the equipment and refreshments and community service hours for the youngsters too. So come on down, and we'll hope to see you soon. Thank you.
So my name is Stevie Soloway. I live right here on Staten Island, the beautiful borough of Staten Island, as a matter of fact. I am a photographer or imagist who likes to take mainly landscapes and mainly trees. Trees, you might ask why. Well, that started when I was a little boy. I grew up in the wilds of New Jersey when it was really farms and whatnot, and didn't have a lot of people around, but there were a lot of trees around. So I formed a kind of love affair with trees, and that's started all, I guess. And then I also did not speak as a youngster for a long time. So I developed a sense of seeing, and I think there's a difference between seeing and looking. Most people are just looking. I usually like to think I'm seeing, or hearing and listening. Those two things are very, very different. So those senses in me really developed to some extent, and then I started to speak, because I'm speaking to you, obviously. And the trees just always attracted me. So about 12, I had an old dog that died, and at about the same time, my sister had bought this Yashikamat camera, and I wanted a picture of this dog. So I confiscated the camera and never put it down since. And then when I moved to Staten Island from Florida, which is very green, I was a little disappointed until I found the natural areas of Staten Island, which is abundant. People don't realize what we have here. We have the green belt. Obviously, we're surrounded by beaches. It's totally amazing once you start to see as opposed to look.
And don't forget the blue belt.
And the blue belt. So I've been photographing Staten Island for about the last 25 years. And I do everything on a tripod, and I only produce maybe about 10 to 12 pictures a year, because it's a slow process. It's just slowing down, looking and seeing. And what really mystifies me is change. Once I take that picture, something has changed. So it's this change that really interests me. So when we talk about the environment, we're seeing a lot of changes in our society, which people, maybe they notice it, maybe they don't, until it comes to their house in the form of a wildfire, global warming, or all that stuff that we've been watching the news about. But we really don't notice it. And the interesting thing about trees is they'll be here. They will survive. I can guarantee you that. It's us in that link that won't survive. So all that stuff kind of fascinates me, and I'm not big on influencing people, verbally, I should say, or protesting or anything like that. I'm more, I like to show you, and I do that with pictures. Their landscape, all taken on Staten Island, color pictures, originally with film, now with a digital camera, which is a marvelous tool. And that's the other thing, the camera is a tool. It's kind of an extension
of my hand. I don't want to have to think about it. I want to see. Once again, that word see as opposed to look. Hear as opposed to listen. I think that's just so important. So we have to, and if more people will do that, they may see what's going on environmentally. I could tell you a little story. So this is a Zen story. So there's this guy walking on the beach, and he sees thousands of these crustaceans trying to get back in the water, otherwise they're going to die. And he kind of shakes his head and he says, well, what can I do? I'm only one person. I can't put these 1,000 things back. So he picks up 2 and walks on. Moral, do what you can. So if a whole bunch of people do one little thing, then we have an army. It's don't throw that piece of paper on the floor. Teach your kids not to do that, or whatever it might be. You know, teaching your kids the proper way to do things, because they're going to inherit this world. Basically, I'm not going to be here. I mean, they will, hopefully, if there's a world. But the trees will survive. The roaches, the rats, they're gonna do fine. It's us, because we're in that link. Zen talks a lot about interconnectedness. In other words, we're all connected to everything, one way or another. You know, we think about the big word in Zen is self. Well, there is no self, because you're always changing, and you're interconnected to all these things. Without them, without rain, other than acid rain, you're not surviving. So you're interconnected. So you should take some of this to heart or not. That's your choice. I mean, you know, it's the great thing about this country. We have freedom of choice. Okay, so this is Wolf's Pond, believe it or not. So one of the things I really love is fog. You know, and if I see fog, I'm out the door. There's no question about it. It softens everything, as you can see with this. And this was not digitally enhanced. This is pretty much what you saw. I removed the Johnny pump that was there, but this is an area in Wolf's Pond that floods when we get a lot of rain. So we got a combination of rain and fog. And I was looking at this many, many times. As a matter of fact, I was walking with my wife one day, and she said, "You're going to photograph that, aren't you?" Because I kept looking at it. And I said, yes, I am. I just got to wait for the right lighting. So I must have gone back about 10 times before I got this. But it's all in the seeing, and it's patience. It's this slowing down. We live in a fast food generation. We want every instant gratification. It really doesn't exist. It's more meaningful to me to take my time and slow down. It's this slowing down process. And I usually like to go out into the woods or the beach early in the morning. I like the lighting at that time, and I like the quietness. You can always find noise, it seems, but it's the quietness that's very hard to find. I was at Wolf's Pond, I would guess about 6 or 7 times. I wanted to see it through all the seasons too. And yet, now that I'm looking at it, this had to be fall, because there's very few leaves on the, so I lied. But I went back about 6 times, and then I have like a mental file of things that I want to photograph, and when I look out the window and see the proper lighting, I'll just rush out with my camera and do this. You know, I've worked so hard to get the image. I have it pretty much set up, because I'll set the tripod up, and I have everything set up in my mind where, you know, it's almost like I'm putting an X on the floor once I see something that I want to photograph. But I do, it's called, in photography, it's called bracketing. I mean, I do one underexposure, one overexposure, and one on the, what the meat is reading. So you're going to get something. Wow. So it's bracketing. Most professional photographers, if you were to look at their work, you'll see one underexposed, one overexposed. They'll usually go two stops either way. So the message would be, just do what you can, or just if I opened anybody's eyes into thinking about it, it's the younger generation. If you have grandchildren, or just whatever, or you care about animals, or whatever it is you might care about. You know, if you care about yourself, if you know me, judging, you know, insurance statistics, I probably won't be here, and that's fine. and I am going to do it's called a green burial. So there's not a whole bunch of chemicals involved. I'll probably just be cremated, and go into the atmosphere. So I think that's the clean way to go. But that's a whole other program probably here that we could discuss if you like. But just do what you can. That's all. That's all.
Is there anything else that you'd like to mention at this time?
It's been an odd experience. I'm used to, my practice says see, hear, then maybe speak. I spoke a lot here. Maybe I won't speak for the rest of the week. We'll see. Bye-bye. Love you.
Thank you.
We're short on time as usual, but we want you to know that we are keeping an eye on a number of other stories touching Staten Island, like the harbor and tributary study of the greater New York City coastline, whose deadline was Friday, March 31st, and has been cooking since 2016, and deals with our preparation for another Storm Sandy or worse, Storm Surge. Some of you have already sent in your comments, and the Environment TV has made a video about that with Jim Scarcella and passed that around already. That's been out there. We're also on top of Governor Hochul's new housing plan by videoing some of the meetings and gatherings into the complex strategy that the New York State Senate and New York State Assembly are bringing to bear on this idea. It looks like it will be a protracted fight for a number of reasons, but Staten Island is more concerned with the idea of ADUs, or accessory dwelling units, which could possibly allow unsafe cellars, attics, garages, backyard empty spaces, and other such parcels of property to be called apartments, but which, in reality, are without safe sanitation, electricity, parking spaces, schools, and all the things that our community takes for granted. An environmental justice mapping has been made public by the groups working with the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, otherwise known as CLIPA by us here in the New York City area. And that was done in 2019. Well, here's the map finally made, and it is something to actually read and see. And our own Staten Island Advance has come out with an article by Joseph Ostapuk. I'm not sure how to say that last name there. And that came out on this last Wednesday, March 29th. That brings much of all of this together in one place. Kudos to all of these reporters and scientists and investigators. And we suggest that everyone read and follow these topics, which we will be doing also. Today's question and answer. What temperature is required to make cement, the indispensable component of concrete? The answer? 1,450 degrees centigrade, or 2,640 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a lot of oil, gas, coal, or any mixture required to get to that temperature, and an awful lot of greenhouse gases. Can we do anything about that? That's our report for today, and we hope that you'll join us for the next one. More so, we need to hear from you, the viewer, so please send us an email, contact us, and let us know what's on your environmental mind, as this episode's participants have done with their short animal photos and videos and reports. Until then, enjoy the nature that we live in and are part of. I'm Charlie Olson, host and producer for the Environment TV Report. Thanking you.